The system under siege. Why Wyoming's public education is at risk. Part 1. A coordinated effort to dismantle public education. Public education has long been the backbone of American democracy, ensuring that every child, regardless of background, has access to knowledge, opportunity, and a brighter future. But today, in Wyoming, that very foundation is under attack. Legislation like HB 199, SF 156, SF 72, and other bills threaten to undermine the integrity of our public schools, jeopardizing the quality of education for thousands of students and dismantling the very institution meant to serve our communities. This is not a single battle, but a jigsawed, multi-pronged attack on public education. The various bills moving through the legislature may seem disjointed, but together they form a highly concerted and orchestrated effort to dismantle the right to a quality public education. From defunding schools and stripping resources to limiting local control and making classrooms less safe, these bills work in tandem to weaken the system at every level. The simultaneous introduction of multiple bills targeting different aspects of public education. Funding, HB 199. Maintenance and infrastructure, F 156. Instructional time, S 22. And school safety, removing gun-free zones, suggests a deliberate and coordinated effort rather than independent policy making. The timing and overlap of these bills indicate a broader agenda aimed at undermining public education from multiple angles, weakening its ability to serve all students effectively. This pattern is not unique to Wyoming. Many of these policies mirror legislative efforts in conservative-led states such as Arizona, Florida, Texas, and Montana. These states have introduced sweeping school voucher programs, defunded public education, restricted curricula, and sought to eliminate gun-free zones, often using identical language and justifications. National advocacy organizations such as the American Legislative Exchange Council, ALEC, Heritage Foundation, and Moms for Liberty have actively promoted these policies across multiple states, drafting model legislation that is then introduced by state lawmakers. The rhetoric surrounding these bills further confirms a coordinated strategy. The repeated use of phrases such as parental rights to justify curriculum restrictions, education freedom to divert public funds to private schools, and fiscal responsibility to justify cutting school funding and shortening the school year demonstrates a unified messaging campaign rather than individual legislative initiatives. Moreover, many of these bills have been fast-tracked with minimal debate, limited public input, and auto-generated responses from legislators, suggesting an intentional effort to push these policies through without adequate scrutiny or engagement with educators and parents. The consequences of these policies are clear. By starving public schools of funding, limiting their ability to maintain facilities, restricting curriculum, and making schools less safe, these efforts pave the way for increased privatization of education. Private schools, many of which lack the same accountability measures as public institutions, stand to benefit financially, while public schools are left to struggle under the weight of shrinking resources and rising demands. This deliberate weakening of public education is not an accident. It is part of a larger movement to shift education toward privatization, favoring those who can afford alternatives while leaving the majority of students behind.